Hey there.
Hey, did you forget that we have an episode today?
Oh, of course not. I was practicing for this episode.
Well, I do appreciate a good practice, but what exactly are you practicing? TikTok dancing or?
Not quite. I was listening to music, which is what today's episode is about.
Oh, I thought today's episode was about film score.
We are.
Well, then we don't need music. We need this. A score. I give it 9.5 out of 10.
Not that type of scoring. Music scoring.
Oh, music score. Well, in that case, over here at the Film Labs, we have some of the best music. I give it 10 out of 10 because, well, it's awesome.
I'm gonna talk to him and then talk to you guys about film scoring on today's episode of Film Labs. My favorite part of a movie is the soundtrack.
Me too. And what's equally exciting is the history of sound in film.
Wait, the history of sound?
Yep. Believe it or not, way back in the day, the only sound heard in movies was the musical score.
What? How did you hear the people? How did you hear what they were saying?
Well, you didn't. Often the score would speak for the film, or they would have something called intertitles, also known as a title card. This title card, well, it was a piece of film, printed, text edited into the midst of the photographed action at various points.
So something like this.
You got it. We were really an intertitle there. But before intertitles and before the audio was able to be printed on film, it was all played live in the theater.
So it was like a concert.
Pretty much. It was live music while you watched the film. Here, let's take a closer look. In an age called the Silent Era in 1890, what would happen is theaters would hire orchestras or musicians like pianists to come play in their theater while the film played. In the early 1900s, the most popular music was ragtime music, which was most commonly heard during films. One of the more famous composers of ragtime music was Scott Joplin, who wrote a song called The Entertainer. And this is regularly featured on the soundtrack of perhaps every single ice cream truck in North America. In 1920, an instrument called the photo player was introduced to accompany silent films. It was like an automated piano that had sound effects like gunshots, bells, sirens, horns, and drums. In 1924, a book titled Motion Picture Moods for Pianists and Organists was written by Erno Rappi. This provided a comprehensive index for musicians to choose popular, at the time, or classical sheet music to be played based on the emotion or type of scene. In 1927, a system called Vitaphone was invented. This system included a phonograph that was mechanically interlocked to a regular projector running at a fixed speed of 24 frames per second, which meant when the projector was started, it would also rotate the linked phonograph and keep the record in sync with the image on the screen. Which brings us to 1927. With the modernization of film projectors and recording techniques in the late 1920s, it became possible to compose entire soundtracks, film scores, dialogue, and sound effects, and synchronize all of it with the picture by storing the audio directly on the film. Which brings us to the Golden Age, which started to introduce musicals, pop, and jazz music into movie soundtracks and scores. Once music and picture played together, well, the rest was history. No pun intended.
That's really cool. So, music was an important part of movie watching back then?
Yes, and it still is. The scoring of a film is so important. Filmmakers use it very carefully to build the tone and mood of a film. Music can create a convincing atmosphere for the situation and can turn a good film, well, into a bad film. You know what? I know someone who can really explain the importance of music in films. His name is Paul Orton, and he works over at Zebra Vision. Let's give him a call. Hey, Paul.
Hey, Film Labs. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here talking about my favorite thing in the world, music. Running a music studio with my partner means we often have to do a lot of different jobs, but my favorite thing is making music for film and video games. It's really dynamic and it keeps me on my toes. Good news though, you don't need to know how to make music in order to have great music in your films. You just need to know what to listen for. So today we're going to focus on choosing the right music for your film projects. When you're looking for music, it's important to remember that the music belongs to the artist that created it, so we can't just use any music that we want. If we use music that we don't have permission to use, something like YouTube might actually pull your audio out of your video. That's okay though, there's lots of places on the internet where we can find free or cheap music that we can use in our films. A great place to start is freesound.org. There are tons of great sounds and music tracks that you can use for free. If you have a bit more budget, you can also check out sites like audiohero.com or artlist.io. Now that we know where we're looking, we need to know what we're looking for. So when choosing music, I want to focus on a couple of key things today: energy and mood. Let's talk about energy first. Have you ever heard a song so groovy that you just can't help but dance along to it? Music is so powerful that our bodies respond to it physically. Some music can make us dance, while other music can make us calm down if we're feeling stressed out. Music can make us tense up or relax, it can wake us up, or it can put us to sleep. It's that powerful. So if we think of energy as the way music affects our body, then let's listen to some examples of music that have varying levels of energy. As you listen, close your eyes and really pay close attention to how the music makes your body react. Hear how the energy of the music is often tied to the speed of the music? Really fast music with a lot of notes often has really high energy, while lower energy music might have more space in between, less notes. One other important thing is that you can use music to build up energy or to release it. This is extremely important when you're trying to create tension and can also be a really effective way to move between different scenes. As content creators, it's really important that we think about how the music we choose aligns with what we want our audience to feel when they're watching our film. If we have a really high energy scene, like a fight scene or a car chase, we probably want some really high energy music that supports that. Whereas if we have a low energy scene, maybe like some really serious dialogue, we might want a lower energy music or maybe even no music at all if that's what best supports the actors. Now we know how to recognize the energy in music and how to build and release energy in our scenes. So next let's talk about mood. So where the energy of music affects our body, the mood of the music affects our emotions. We humans are very empathetic creatures, so when we listen to music, we often feel the same emotion as the artist who created it. Happy music makes us happy, sad music makes us sad. This is really important when it comes to creating visual media, because music can tell us what to feel before the scene even starts. When we watch a movie, our focus often stays on what we see on the screen, the actors or the actresses. This means that the music sits in the background of our focus, affecting what we feel subconsciously. Did you notice the music playing right now and how it changes the feeling of my speaking? The effects of this are extremely powerful. If a script is confusing, the music can help the audience to understand what they're supposed to be feeling. But you gotta be careful with this, because if the music is wrong, it can even confuse people into feeling the wrong thing. A great way to start thinking about mood is to look up an emotion wheel on the internet. It will show you lots of different emotions and how they relate to each other. There are more emotions than can be easily counted. So today I want to just focus on 4 really key basic emotions: joy, sadness, anger, and fear. These are the emotions that I deal with all the time when writing music. We're going to listen to another clip of music together, only this time instead of focusing on energy, we're going to focus on the emotions that it makes us feel. Did you notice how even though the mood was changing, the energy stayed pretty close to the same? It's important to understand that energy and mood are not necessarily dependent on each other, even though they can be linked. For example, you might have a high energy anger music, like in a fight scene, but you could also have low energy anger, like when the hero's been wronged and he's silently brooding. So it's important to consider both energy and mood separately when you pick your music. Now, while these rules are great to get you started, the most important thing is just that you experiment and play. You don't need to know how to make music in order to get great music into your films. You just need to know how to listen carefully. Try taking different pieces of music and putting them under your different scenes, and pay close attention to how the energy and the mood of the scene changes. And also, don't forget that sometimes silence is the best thing. If the acting is really strong, maybe you don't need music at all. That's plenty to get you started. Now go try using these techniques to pick some music for your own films. Good luck and have fun. Back to you, Film Labs.
Film Labs!
Wow. Always great information. I love it.
I know. And you were not kidding when you said he knew a thing or two.
Oh, he knows everything. He's brilliant. What do you say we go ahead and take all that information we just learned and try it for ourselves?
Well, what are we waiting for? Let's go.
All right. Well, let's go. All right, let's pause the video and answer some questions. Why do you think Anna is running? What emotion does this scene make you feel? And is the energy of the scene high or is it low? After we've answered these questions, let's watch the same video again, just with different music. All right, let's see if our answers change now that the music has changed. Why is Anna running? Is it different than the last time we saw her running? What emotion does this scene make you feel? How has it changed? Is the energy of the scene high or is it low? After we've written down our answers, let's try this again in a different setting. Okay, now that we've changed the setting, let's answer the same questions again. What do you think is in the chest? What emotion does this scene make you feel? Is the energy of the scene high or is it low? After you've answered these questions, let's watch the video again with some different music. Now that you've seen both videos, what do you think is in the chest now? Has your answer changed? Did the emotions you feel change from the last time? Is the energy of the scene high or is it low?
Film Labs!
Who knew scoring a film could be so much fun? I had an absolute blast hanging out with you today.
I know, I did too. Who knew scoring in film could be informational, fun, silly, brilliant, all of the above.
Exactly, and we hope that you take all the information that you learned today and apply it to your own filmmaking. Again, my name's Mitch.
My name's Anna, and we're the Film Labs.
Add music into movie soundtracks and scores. So once music and picture play together, well, the rest is history. Nope.
One guy. I was practicing for today's
Okay, let's restart.
music.
Okay, here we go. Ready? You're doing music, you're playing, jamming. Okay, ready? No,
Of course.
not quite. I was listening to music, which is what today's episode is all about. That is not what I should be saying. You know what? Let's just keep it. Let's start from the top.
Okay.
Okay.
You know, sometimes my favorite part.
Which brings us to 1927, with the modernization of film projectors.
Projectors.
I'm not rustling like crazy. Who knew scoring a film could be so much fun? I had a blast today.
Sorry.